Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Dugout. Why do I call it special? Because today we've dug out a lot of details for you, a lot of things for you, and it's getting hot. Things are getting heated up. Technically, it's also a special day because the World Cup has started. Not officially, not the first match, but the practice games have started. Pakistan in action. So is Bangladesh at the moment.
Sri Lanka, South Africa, Afghanistan. It is the World Cup silly season that has begun.
Okay, so the World Cup in that sense has started. Of course, officially it starts on the 5th. For Indian fans, it starts on the 8th. And I know that one game where all of you will have your eyes set on is this game.
Yeah, October 14th, 1:30 p.m. IST at the 1 lakh plus capacity stadium at Gujarat. These two arch rivals, arch nemesis, India versus Pakistan.
Interesting you call them arch rivals, arch nemesis, because that's not the word that was used by the PCB chief, and that is particularly going to be our focus of discussion. And we'd love to know your comments as well, because this is a topic that has divided opinions. We'll try and share our opinions. We want you also to chip in with yours. So if the game on the 14th already did not have a context, it's been given more of a context. If it didn't already have an edge, it's been given more of an edge after the PCB chief Zaka Ashraf came up with we'll show you the statement, came up with, according to me, an outrageous statement. Do you have any other adjective to describe it?
Nothing surprising, considering it's Pakistan. Pakistan always have given out so many statements in the past. These guys, as Manoj would have pointed out in some of the other instances, and we also chat often, isn't it? They just want to make headlines. And boy, they do a great job about it. Maybe sometimes we think, before we leap. They leapt, but they don't think about it. That's
okay,
Pakistan.
we'll get to ground report. We'll get Manoj to join us in a short while from now and tell us how is the Pakistan team feeling after those interesting comments by Zaka Ashraf. We'll also take you across to Pakistan. We have a special guest in Abdul Ghaffar, who's a senior journalist, also join us. But first, without further ado, we built it up so much. Some of you would have already heard the statement on social media, but if you haven't, we have it specially for you. Can we play the statement? Let's listen to Mr. Zaka Ashraf.
मेरा मकसद एक ही था कि हमारे जितने प्लेयर्स हैं ये मोराल इनका अप होना चाहिए जब ये किसी दुश्मन मुल्क में या किसी जगह भी खेलने जाएं जहाँ कंपटीशन हो रहा है। मेरा मकसद एक ही था कि हमारे जितने प्लेयर्स हैं ये मोराल इनका अप होना चाहिए जब ये किसी दुश्मन मुल्क में या किसी जगह भी खेलने जाएं जहाँ कंपटीशन हो रहा है। मेरा मकसद एक ही था कि हमारे जितने प्लेयर्स हैं ये मोराल इनका अप होना चाहिए जब ये किसी दुश्मन मुल्क में या किसी जगह भी खेलने जाएं जहाँ कंपटीशन हो रहा है।
So we heard it again and again and again, simply because we wanted to be 100% sure of what he said. Okay, so even though he's not said India and Dushman Mulk in the same sentence, but it is self-explanatory if you listen to the statement, that entire statement, that he is referring to India as the Dushman Mulk. Giving you a bit of a context, he was asked a question about the contract which wasn't renewed for a lot of Pakistani players. They were without a contract and he received a lot of flack for it. So when asked that question, he said, no, we have now renewed their contract because we want their morale high, because when they go to a Dushman Mulk, their morale should be high for a big tournament. Dushman Mulk, no prizes for guessing.
No prizes for guessing.
What he talks. Okay, Dushman Mulk he calls. I'm just a bit surprised with Mr. Zaka Ashraf for saying this. You said you're not surprised because wasn't he the same guy just a few days ago? You had the BCCI president in Roger Binney and the vice president in Rajiv Shukla go, and by the way, they went there on the invitation of the PCB. So they extended that invitation. India were kind enough to accept that invitation, go there. There it was all bonhomie, all picture, photo ops, they were all together. He said, I think if I'm not mistaken, that we have to move together.
Yeah, we will grow together and all that. He also, even Rajiv Shukla stated, the kind of reception, we have been treated very, very well.
So how does this come then? Lapse of judgment? No?
It's Pakistan. Look, it is history. History is there that, okay, when they talk something, they do something else. Look at what happened in 1999. Okay, you had a, I mean, politically, I'll just go a bit of a tangent. You had a peace journey, you had a peace road trip from Lahore to Punjab. But what happened 2 months later? You had Kargil. They started it. Then, if you look at it, this particular scenario, you remember the Asia Cup build-up, what it was? Hybrid model. Oh, Najam Sethi, the former PCB Chief, saying, no, we are not going to go to India. We are not going to come here. Pakistan wants to build its main agenda simply on labeling India as the biggest enemy that is there. Be it in cricket, be it politics, be it finance. They are the big enemy.
If you ask me, I think there could be two reasons behind it. One, see, what I'm saying is that what he said is stupid. Okay, I'm going to use that word. But he's a 71-year-old man who's dabbled in politics. So all I'm saying is it cannot be a error of judgment. What he said, he very well knew what he was saying, is what I'm saying. He's a smart man. Yeah, he meant, so he's a smart man in that sense. Now I'm trying to look for reasons because he's been in politics. He was with the PPP, the Pakistan People's Party. He has relatives who are with Tehreek-e-Insaf as well.
That's Imran's party.
Yes, so he's got political connection. So all I'm saying is when he says something, it's not without a reason. Now there could be two reasons when I look at it. One, he has to pander to his own public. So he said it without realizing that in the social media age, because he thought there is no foreign media, there is nothing, I'm saying it within my media, within my people. So I'll get those brownie points for taking this stand with my people. So I'll say that. And without realizing that in social media clips are made, quickly circulated, no matter where you are, nothing is really private, even when you've got phones. So that is then probably an error of judgment. The other thing is, where does it stem from? And I feel this hatred which has now come because he refers to it as Dushman Mulk. I don't think anyone from India really said that. Stems from the fact that they were very upset. Okay, they were very upset. What is that? Hindi कहावत होती है क्या बिल्ली खंबा क्या खिसियानी बिल्ली खंबा नोचे. So basically you are to translate to my South Indian friend, it means, you know, like if you are really hurt, then you're going to be coming back with a vengeance.
With a vengeance. Oh.
So all I'm saying is that hybrid model, and they were upset. Then when it started raining, they thought that is an opportunity, pounced on it, saying India is scared. You know, various things were said because you were trying to get back because you felt hurt or you felt defeated because you kept saying nahi. Remember the initial statements were whatever said and done, if you don't play Asia Cup, you're not coming for the World Cup. But you had to backtrack. So it hurts your ego. So you know that was building up. Then you tried to take out your anger on Asia Cup. Then rain came, you did that. Wo bhi ho gaya. Asia Cup also happened. India beat them also. Everything happened. So then you look for reasons. How do I get back? So this is one thing that he goes on to mention. I think these are the reasons why he may have said this. But
or simply, Pakistan being Pakistan, the real agenda of why they have an identity. Let's be very blunt here. Let's not sidetrack these issues that's been there for 76 years. Pakistan's identity is built upon hating India for certain fundamental things. We all know the horrors of 47. We all know that egoistically also 65, 71, 99, even 2008 for that matter. 2008 onwards till now only the bilateral tensions the tipping point.
No, that BCCI is very clear because a lot of people ask me why has the BCCI not reacted. I said BCCI's stand has been very fixed no matter who. See, unlike PCB, which is controlled by politics, as in the party in charge controls PCB, that's why these statements come out. BCCI that way is devoid of any political connections as such, right? So what does the BCCI do? They do not pass political statements, but their stand has been very clear. They do it with action. So irrespective of who is at the helm, because since 2008 we've had, last tour was 2009, we've had different people at the helm. Different people at the helm, but whoever has been at the helm, the stand has been clear, no bilateral series. So that we have not done no matter how much pressure. The other is we will not play on Pakistan soil no matter what you have said, even if it's a multinational tournament, you have not done it. So BCCI in that sense remains quiet, doesn't come up with immature statements, but does what it does best, that is won't budge from their stand, and they've maintained. Now Zaka Ashraf, with the foot in his mouth, later realized I have to do damage control. So he tried to do damage control. Okay, so this is what he said. He said after it became breaking news in India, his statement was played again and again on platforms like Sports Today. Quickly came out with a statement. So he has now said whenever India and Pakistan step onto the cricket field, they emerge as traditional rivals but not as enemies. So isn't that damage control? No.
I mean, this is just a very poor excuse of trying to cover up the initial mentality that.
So damage control, cover up is what?
He's not even covering
up. You think this way damage cannot be controlled?
No, it's already been done. If he had used it at the very beginning, okay, Dushman Mulk, no, it's a slip of tongue. Maybe some other term he could have come up with. Then that was damage control. This is a very, very poor excuse of a damage control. And Pakistan, see, they set the fire, but they don't know how to control it. Simple.
Actually, you're right. He could have said slip of tongue.
And that too.
Oh, I didn't mean.
Not after
but
2-3
he's not done
hours. Not after 2-3 hours. He said the statement in the morning. And it became a massive controversy. And then he's been forced to retract.
Because I said, he may have realized this statement will remain here. Won't reach.
It has remained.
No, but now it's reached everywhere. He thought it will remain within the confines of Pakistan. Once it spread like wildfire is when he realized. So now he says, which is why I'm saying cover up. They are traditional rivals but not as enemies. I hope he should, I wish he would have said this in the statement that they are traditional enemies, not enemies. Traditional rivals, not enemies. He didn't say that. He went on to say, as you heard, Dushman Mulk. Now he goes on to add, he says after that, and I find this really funny, concentrate on what he said. He says, I mean this is not a quote, but the statement reads, he expressed his desire for the restoration of bilateral cricketing relations between the two countries, allowing millions of cricket fans for both nations the opportunity to watch these players perform live. He concluded by expressing his hope that the Indian cricket team would also visit Pakistan soon. Pray tell me, all of you who are watching, pray tell me, Siddharth, please help me out. In one breath he says Dushman Mulk.
Yes.
And then in his statement says, I hope there will be bilateral relations. I hope India will come to Pakistan. Like I feel like banging my head against the wall.
Harbhajan Singh had told you in that interview, right, when you did from Colombo. What is Najam Sethi smoking nowadays?
And it applies to him, isn't it?
It applies to him. Either see, whoever has framed this so-called statement, this is another poor excuse of damage control. I am never, till the time I am alive, I am never going to believe this is damage control. What is he smoking? Doesn't he know what are the bilateral cricketing relations? That means either he's in a bubble, he does not have any clue whatsoever, like how most of Pakistan's public, intelligentsia, their cricketers, their public, they just have no clue. They are in self-denial every single time, and contradiction. From Dushman Mulk, bilateral cricketing relations restoration, wow. I think they were good in geometry because they know the art of 180-degree flip-flop in the best possible way. So Pakistan, for me, it's a 180-degree country.
All I will say is that I am not a spokesperson for the BCCI, for Indian cricket or anyone. But if I was to use even an iota of my grey matter, I would be able to tell you that after a statement that he's passed, there is no chance in hell that India will be touring there, or for that matter, any sort of bilateral ties will be restored. That is taken, I mean, that is 100% sure. There's no chance any of that changes. And Mr. Zaka Ashraf, again, as I said, I'm not a representative, but I'd be very surprised. In fact, I'd term it impossible after your statement that any of this thing is to happen. And probably he knows that too. As I said at the start, he's a smart man. And this is also just lip service where he mentions it, but there's no...
Polite.
I've been polite?
Yes.
You know why I've been polite? No, smart as in he'll
Even the smartness, I agree, that Dushman will slip of tongue can happen.
No, it's not a slip of tongue is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's a smart man, he knows what he's going to be doing.
But even this
is damage control. No? Now, sugar coating, everything. This is damage control.
But again, let us not be judged by the fact, you seem to be parroting a very hyper-nationalistic thing. No, there is nothing hyper-nationalistic about it. Whatever I have said about Pakistan is true from any spectrum you look at it. This statement, and even in the past, there has been so much of 180-degree flip-flops, it just beggars the bet. I'll give Zaka Ashraf one small iota of credit. Unlike Najam Sethi, you said, he's scared. They are scared to face. He never contradicted that. He never took it back. At least here he's trying to make an attempt. But
Okay.
that is also falling flat on them.
Is it a foot in the mouth sort of a situation that he finds himself in? Is that the situation? Does most people in Pakistan, do they also have the same sentiments? What is the reaction in Pakistan after this statement? You know the reaction in India. We've done plenty of coverage. Let's take you live to Karachi. We'll be joined by senior journalist Abdul Ghaffar, and let's try and get the ground picture from him. Let's take you live there. Okay, we're joined by Abdul Ghaffar, senior journalist from Karachi. अब्दुल जी, बहुत बहुत स्वागत है आपका हमारे प्रोग्राम में। सबसे पहले तो ये आप मुझे बताएं कि देखिए इंडिया में इस वक्त इट्स बिग न्यूज़, एवरीवन इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द स्टेटमेंट में ज़ाका अशरफ। फर्स्टली मैं आपसे ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि उनके पहली वाली स्टेटमेंट में बाद में आएंगे, करंट जो उनकी स्टेटमेंट आई है जो हम डैमेज कंट्रोल की तरह देख रहे हैं, उसमें उन्होंने एक बार भी जिक्र ही नहीं किया उस बारे में जो उन्होंने दुश्मन मुल्क उस चीज़ में कही थी। तो ये क्या किया है? मतलब ये शॉर्टकट ले लिया है, साइड से निकल गया है, क्या लगता है आपको क्या किया है?
शुक्रिया निखिल भाई। देखें, ये स्टेटमेंट जब आया और मैंने भी इसके बारे में बात की थी, मुझे लगा कि ये बहुत ही अजीब सी बात है कि आपकी टीम का एक दिन पहले इतना शानदार इस्तकबाल हो भारत के अंदर। वो हमारे लिए बड़ा सरप्राइजिंग था, प्लीजिंग था। हमने इसको बड़ा अप्रिशिएट किया अपने चैनल्स पर भी, सोशल मीडिया पर भी। और अचानक से जब ये स्टेटमेंट मैंने देखा, ये ऐसे लगा जैसे ना बहुत ही इररिस्पॉन्सिबल किस्म का, बड़ा इल टाइम, और इसकी कोई जरूरत ही नहीं थी। कोई जरूरत नहीं थी इस तरह की बात करने की। फिर जब मैंने थोड़ा बहुत पता किया तो पता चला जी शायद ये स्लिप ऑफ टंग हो गया है। मैंने कहा ठीक है जी, लेकिन जारी बात है तब तक भारत में श्योरली अगर भारत में कोई बीसीसीआई की चीज ये कहेंगे और पाकिस्तान में उनकी टीम मौजूद होगी तो नेचुरल रिएक्शन है। मैं इस बारे में बड़ा फेयर रहूंगा। लेकिन मैं ये समझता हूँ कि पाकिस्तान के रिपोर्टर चले इसको दोनों तरफ देख लेते हैं। एक तो ये कि आपकी बात ठीक है, मैं जाती तौर पे भी इस बात के हक में हूँ कि अगर आप इस आज प्रेस रिलीज में जो आपने इतनी बड़ी प्रेस रिलीज जो है वो इशू की, आपने इस मामले की हसासियत को समझा, आपने इंडियन जो सेंटिमेंट्स हैं उनको रियलाइज किया कि जी वहां पर इस्तकबाल हुआ है, वहां पे पाकिस्तान टीम मौजूद है। ये किसी और वक्त स्टेटमेंट होता, किसी भी और वक्त शायद इसमें जो कुछ आप करते हैं मैं करता, शायद वो डिस्कस होता ना होता, हाइप बनती। अभी तो आपकी टीम वहां पर है यार, आपकी टीम को अच्छा रिसेप्शन मिला है, तो अब आपको तो और पाकिस्तान का तो ये स्टांस रहा है ना, देखें कि खेल को सियासत से अलग रखिए। जब हमारे वजीर खारजा भी आए थे हम तो ये बात करते, तो ऐसे मौके पर हमारे चेयरमैन पे ये कह देना जो उन्होंने कहा, मैं उसको दोहराना भी नहीं चाहता, जो उन्होंने इस मौके पे कहा, आई थिंक वो अच्छी बात नहीं थी। फिर स्लिप ऑफ टंग जैसी बातें भी मुझे सुनने को मिली कि वो कुछ कहना चाह रहे थे, कह कुछ गए। बट मेरा ये ख्याल है, आई एग्री विद यू इन दिस कॉन्टेक्स्ट कि अगर आपने प्रेस रिलीज इशू किया था तो आप उसमें सिर्फ ये बात करते थे कि जो बात की गई शायद उसका मतलब ये नहीं था, वो कहना कुछ और चाहते थे, कह कुछ और गए, तो शायद आज अभी इस वक्त आपके जो सेंटिमेंट्स हैं वो कुछ बेहतर होते। बट ये मैं जरूर कहूंगा निखिल भाई कि ये बहरहाल एक पॉजिटिव साइन जरूर रहेगा कि एटलीस्ट उस चीज को रियलाइज किया गया, उस चीज को दुरुस्त करने की एटलीस्ट कोशिश की गई कि देखें जी हम जब खेलते हैं तो राइवल्स होते हैं, एनिमीज नहीं होते। तो उन्होंने इनडायरेक्टली उस चीज की तरफ आए जरूर, लेकिन शायद ये बेहतर होता कि आप उस चीज को थोड़ा सा और क्लैरिफाई कर देते, आप इस चीज को थोड़ा सा और बेहतर कर देते। मैं इस माहौल की बात कर रहा हूँ, तो इस वक्त माहौल इंडिया में बना पाकिस्तान टीम के जाने के बाद, पाकिस्तानी फैंस के आप इंस्टाग्राम के ट्वीट देखिए, तो इतनी अच्छे माहौल में ये एक कड़वी चीज आ गई, तो मेरे ख्याल में इसको थोड़ा और प्यार से आप इसको हैंडल कर लेते। बट चलिए एटलीस्ट रियलाइज हो गया, मुझे तो इसकी भी खुशी है, लेकिन थोड़ा सा चॉइस ऑफ वर्ड्स आप और बेहतर करते। इतनी बड़ी प्रेस रिलीज के बजाय आप इसको हाफ कर देते, आप उसमें लिख देते कि जी ये जो बात की कर, मैं आपको बड़ी जिम्मेदारी से कह रहा हूँ निखिल, मेरी बड़ी डिटेल कुछ लोगों से पीसीबी के अंदर, वो खुद ये मान रहे हैं कि ये चेयरमैन कहना नहीं चाहते थे, आपको पता है। लेकिन आप और मैं जर्नलिस्ट हैं, एक आम आदमी शायद जब कोई अपनी बात करता है, चाहे वो चेयरमैन ही क्यों ना हो, उसकी बातों की अहमियत भी बहुत ज्यादा ना हो, बट शायद उसके चॉइस ऑफ वर्ड्स कभी ना कभी आगे पीछे हो जाते हैं जो शायद वो इस्तेमाल नहीं करना चाह रहा होता। तो एग्जैक्टली ये मैं आपको बड़ी जिम्मेदारी से बता रहा हूँ कि वो कहना ये नहीं चाहते थे, जो हमें भी कल ही ये बात एक तरह से कन्वे कर दी गई थी और हमें पता था कि प्रेस रिलीज भी आज आ जाएगा और इस चीज को नोटिस किया गया पीसीबी में, ये चीज नहीं होनी चाहिए थी। बट शायद अगर आप ये लिख देते तो ज्यादा बेहतर था।
अच्छा, एक चीज मुझे बताएं, इस वक्त प्लेयर्स क्या सोच होंगे? आपने जैसे बताया कि देखिए प्लेयर्स की हम इंस्टाग्राम स्टोरीज देख रहे हैं, यहाँ पे काफी कवरेज भी हो रही है और काफी इंडियन फैंस भी आए रिसीव करने पाकिस्तान टीम को। प्लेयर्स इस वक्त उन पे क्या असर पड़ेगा इस स्टेटमेंट के बाद? क्योंकि देखिए एक जो प्लेयर होता है वो कंट्रोवर्सी नहीं चाहता, वो चाहता है कि वो क्रिकेट पे कंसंट्रेट करे। अब ये आप जाने अनजाने में जैसे भी हुआ हो, चाहे स्लिप ऑफ टंग हुई, जो भी आप कहें, कंट्रोवर्सी हो जाती है। अब बाबर आजम जब यहां से गए थे, उन्होंने कहा था, मैंने उनकी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस सुनी थी, उन्होंने कहा था देखिए ठीक है पाकिस्तानी फैंस को इतना वीजा नहीं मिला बट सारे गेम सोल्ड आउट हैं, तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि इंडियन फैंस आएंगे, सपोर्ट करेंगे पाकिस्तान टीम को। अब आप ये स्टेटमेंट देते हैं, तो क्या इस वक्त बाबर एंड कंपनी ऐसे सर पकड़ के बैठे होंगे कि यार हमारे जो चेयरमैन साहब है ऐसा कह देते हैं, परेशानी क्या पाकिस्तान टीम के लिए खड़ी हो जाती है स्टेटमेंट के बाद, चाहे डैमेज कंट्रोल आप कितना भी कर लें?
देखिए मेरे ख्याल में इसी चीज को रियलाइज निकल किया गया कि भारत में पाकिस्तान की टीम मौजूद है, ऑब्वियसली मीडिया इंटरेक्शन होंगे, प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेज होंगी और उसके अंदर आप यकीनी तौर पर मीडिया के सामने भी आते हैं, सवालात के जवाब भी देते हैं, तो शायद उसी चीज को ही रियलाइज करते हुए इतनी बड़ी और प्रॉपर स्टेटमेंट जारी की गई। लेकिन अगेन मैं कहूंगा कि अगर आपने एक चीज बाकी नहीं की, देखिए मैं आपको बड़ी जिम्मेदारी से कह रहा हूँ, मैं बड़ी जिम्मेदारी से अगेन ये बात कर रहा हूँ कि अगर ये बात आपको पता है पाकिस्तान इंडिया में इस तरह के बयान शायद चेयरमैन लेवल पे ना सही, लेकिन इधर हम सुनते रहते हैं और बड़े बड़े पोजीशन पे भी सुनते रहते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पे इसका मतलब ये हरगिज नहीं था। मेरा सिर्फ ये ख्याल है कि पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट बोर्ड इस चीज को तहरीर कर देता तो शायद अभी आप भी इस चीज को ज्यादा बेहतर तरीके से जो है ना वो अंडरस्टैंड कर रहे होते कि चलें ये गलती हुई थी और उसको उन्होंने ठीक करने के लिए वो लिख भी दिया। बट प्रॉब्लम ये हुई प्रेस रिलीज में कि आपने सब कुछ लिख दिया, बहुत कुछ उसमें कवर करने की कोशिश की, लेकिन बात मुद्दा वही रहा कि वो जो वर्ड बोल दिया आप उसके बारे में कह देती थी कि मेरा चॉइस ऑफ वर्ड कुछ और था, क्योंकि शायद राइवलरी इसको हम कहते हैं जी मुकाबला कह लीजिए, कहते हैं रवायती हरीफ हमारे यहाँ इसको उर्दू में कहा जाता है और आप इसको राइवलरी और हिंदी में जो वर्ड यूज करते हैं वो मुझे बता दीजिए। तो वो कहना कुछ चाह रहे थे, कह कुछ गए, बट मैं ये समझता हूँ कि पाकिस्तान टीम पे शायद निकल इसका इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान टीम इससे साइडलाइन नहीं रहेगी, क्योंकि वो अपनी प्रैक्टिस कर रहे होंगे, अपने मैचेस कर रहे होंगे। हाँ जब वो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करने आएंगे मीडिया के सामने, शायद पोस्ट मैच प्री मैच में तो उसका जिक्र नहीं होगा ब्रॉडकास्टर के सामने, बट जब वो मीडिया के सामने होंगे शायद एक का सवाल हो जाए, वहां पे फिर आपने उसको हैंडल करना पड़ेगा। आई थिंक उसका बेहतर जवाब तो यही होगा कि जी स्टेटमेंट इशू हो गई है, हम राइवल्स हैं, हम एनिमीज नहीं हैं। और फिर चेयरमैन पीसीबी ने देखें बड़े खुले तरीके से निखिल शुक्रिया भी अदा किया कि तमाम इंडियन फैंस का बहुत शुक्रिया पर्सनली कि उन्होंने हमारी टीम का बड़ा वेलकम किया। तो बहुत सारी चीजें उस प्रेस रिलीज में बहुत अच्छे तरीके से भी आप ढूंढ सकते हैं और ढूंढनी चाहिए। कंट्रोवर्सी जरूर हुई, पर मेरे ख्याल में निखिल मेरे ख्याल में आई थिंक इट्स टाइम टू मूव ऑन। जब आपने इस चीज को रियलाइज किया, आपने एक ऑफिशियल स्टेटमेंट दे दिया, देखिए आपने प्रेस रिलीज जारी कर दिया, शायद प्रेस रिलीज ना आया होता, अगर आप इस बारे में बात ही ना करते, आप इस मामले को ओवरलुक करते ही छोटे छोटे छठे जाने दें, वर्ल्ड कप हो जाएगा तो कौन पूछेगा, लेकिन आपने एटलीस्ट उसको एक बड़ा मेजर तरीके से आपने उस चीज को रिस्पॉन्ड किया, आपने उसको बड़ा सीरियस लिया। तो मेरा ये ख्याल है कि मेरी अपनी जाती राय में आई थिंक इट्स टाइम टू मूव ऑन। वर्ल्ड कप जब शुरू हो जाएगा तो मेरे ख्याल में शायद ये चीज डिस्कस नहीं हो या नहीं होनी चाहिए और फिर हमारी कंसंट्रेशन क्रिकेट पे रहे। लेकिन अगेन ये ना भी होता तो शायद ये भी बहुत बेहतर था। ये एक अनड्यू किस्म की कहते हैं ना, इट कुड हैव बीन अवॉइडेड।
अब्दुल जी, मैं सिद्धार्थ हूं। तो एक ऐसा है, आप एशिया कप में भी देखा था आपने कि जो स्टेटमेंट बोला था कि इंडियन खिलाड़ी जो है पाकिस्तान को फेस करने से एकदम डरते हैं, ये एक स्टेटमेंट था। अब ज़ाका अशरफ का ये जो स्टेटमेंट है, क्या पीसीबी खुद पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट बोर्ड इस वक्त प्लेयर्स के लिए सबसे बड़ा डिस्ट्रैक्शन क्या वही है?
देखिए वो स्टेटमेंट या जो भी, देखें हमारे भी सोशल मीडिया बड़ी बातें होती हैं, आपके वहां भी होती रहती हैं और बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बातें भी होती हैं हर तरफ। वो जो पाकिस्तान भारत की टीम नहीं खेलना चाह रही थी, ये सब कुछ जो है कहीं ऑफिशियल कैपेसिटी पे तो नहीं कहा गया दोस्त। मेरे ख्याल में ये सारी बातें फैंस और मीडिया के दरमियान ही घूमती रहती हैं और ये आपके यहाँ हमारे यहाँ ये पाकिस्तान इंडिया में ये होता है। अब मेरा ये ख्याल है कि यही ज़का अशरफ देखें, पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट बोर्ड ने बड़े प्यार से, मोहब्बत से, चाव से बीसीसीआई के प्रेसिडेंट नायब सदर को पाकिस्तान बुलाया। मैं बहुत खुश हुआ कि आपके प्रेसिडेंट और नायब सदर पाकिस्तान आए, उनको सबसे ज्यादा तवज्जो दी गई, प्यार दिया गया और उन्होंने जाके क्या कहा। अब देखें ना, रॉजर बिनी साहब ने, राजीव शुक्ला साहब ने यही कहा कि हमें बहुत प्यार मिला और यहाँ तक कि ये बात भी हुई कि जी बायलैटरल के हवाले से सोचेंगे, लेकिन चलें पाकिस्तान की टीम भारत आ रही है तो ये भी पॉजिटिव बात है और ये बाकी बहुत पॉजिटिव बात है कि 7 साल बाद पाकिस्तान की टीम भारत में मौजूद है। मेरा ये ख्याल है कि बहुत सारी नेगेटिव चीजों में हम पॉजिटिव चीजें भूल जाते हैं। हमें ये भी देखना चाहिए कि ज़का अशरफ ने ही उनको जाके रिसीव किया, बीसीसीआई के प्रेसिडेंट को, नायब सदर को। फिर वही आपको याद होगा जब साइडलाइन से मीटिंग हुई जय शाह साहब के साथ, तो साउथ अफ्रीका में उन्होंने जाकर उनसे बात की। उनको जो है वो मैं जाती तौर पर अगर आप मुझसे पूछें तो मैं जाती तौर पर जो ज़का अशरफ को जानता हूँ, वो बड़े हम्बल और बड़े सॉफ्ट स्पोकन है। वो बहुत ज्यादा कंट्रोवर्शियल बयान नहीं देते, उनके बहुत ज्यादा इंटरव्यूज भी आप नहीं देखते होंगे, बहुत ज्यादा आपने उनको सोशल मीडिया पे इंटरेक्ट करते भी नहीं देखा होगा। So he's very, calm and cool customer. I think ये बात उनसे एक unintentional हो गई. But don't forget कि आखिरी पाकिस्तान सीरीज 2012-13 में जक्का साहब के दौर में हुई. अभी बीसीसीआई के जो आपके प्रेसिडेंट आए उनको भी रिसीव किया, बहुत अच्छे तरीके से उनको उनके एजाज में एक पूरा इशाइया दिया. गवर्नर हाउस में हमारे गवर्नर पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप वहां मौजूद थी. आई एम प्रीटी श्योर, अब मुझे नहीं पता अब आप लोग क्या सोचेंगे इस बारे में. मेरा तो ये ख्याल है कि जक्का साहब को भारत जाकर भी यही बात मोहब्बत की और प्यार की करनी चाहिए अगर उनको बुलाया जाता है या वो जाते हैं. मेरा ये ख्याल है कि ये स्टेटमेंट कह रहा हूँ कुड हैव बीन अवॉइडेड, अननेसेसरी था, ये नहीं होना चाहिए था. ये ना होता तो बेहतर था. मैं ये कह रहा हूँ ये अच्छी बात नहीं थी कि इस तरह के वर्ड हमने सुने, बट एटलीस्ट इसको रियलाइज किया गया. और मेरे ख्याल में आप लोग भी इस बात को जरूर समझें कि अगर उस पर दिल आजारी हुई इंडियन फैंस की या इंडियन नेशन की कि अभी तो हमने इस्तकबाल किया था और अभी हमें इस तरह के वर्ड सुनने को मिले, बट मेरे ख्याल में इस चीज को भी थोड़ा सा रियलाइज कर लें. मेरा ये ख्याल है.
अच्छा.
इसके बाद इस चीज को रियलाइज करके उसको ठीक करने की कोशिश भी की गई, इसको बिल्कुल छोड़ नहीं दिया गया. तो आप प्लीज उस स्टेटमेंट के अंदर छुपी हुई बहुत सारी मोहब्बत और प्यार वाली चीजों को भी पढ़िए जिसमें शुक्रिया भी अदा किया गया है और जिसमें ये कहा गया है कि हम राइवल्स हैं, हम एनिमीज नहीं हैं. उन्होंने ये दोहरा दिया. तो मेरे ख्याल में उस चीज को भी लोगों के सामने जरूर पहुंचाइए.
अच्छा, आखिरी सवाल गफार जी, आपने बातें तो दुरुस्त की हैं, लेकिन देखिए सबसे बड़ी चीज क्या है. एक चले पीसीबी चेयरमैन कहते हैं वो एक रेयर या एक स्टैंड अलोन बयान हो सकता है. देखिए इस वक्त जो हमें व्यूअर्स देख रहे होंगे वो तो यही जानना चाहेंगे ना इंडिया में कि भाई क्या ज्यादातर पाकिस्तानी लोगों में ये सेंटिमेंट है जिस तरह से पीसीबी चेयरमैन ने कहा सेंटिमेंट. तो आप मुझे जमीनी हकीकत बताएं, जो क्रिकेट फैंस हैं पाकिस्तान में, क्या वो ऐसे देखते हैं या उनके जहन में कभी ये चीज आती है दुश्मन मुल्क? अब वो मुझे बताएं जो क्रिकेट फैंस पाकिस्तान में मौजूद हैं या फिर जो साफी है जैसे आप हैं, वो किस तरह से व्यू करते हैं जो इंडिया पाकिस्तान मैच होने वाला है.
देखिए निखिल, सीधी सी बात है, हम एक राइवल्स हैं, एक हिस्ट्री है, बहुत सारी चीजें तारीख से जुड़ी हुई हैं. और अगर मैं यहाँ पे ये बोल दूं कि पूरा पाकिस्तान कहता है कि इंडिया तो हमारा दोस्त है, या आप मुझे ये कह दें कि पूरे इंडियन लोग ये कहते हैं कि पाकिस्तान तो हमारा बेस्ट फ्रेंडली नेशन है, तो आई थिंक ना मैं सही करूंगा ना आप सही बात करोगे. रियलिस्टिक बात करनी चाहिए. देखिए पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप क्या बात करती है ये आपको पता है, मुझे पता है, लेकिन अवाम में डेफिनेटली जज्बात होते हैं, दोनों तरफ होते हैं. इसलिए इंडिया पाकिस्तान की राइवलरी, इसीलिए आपके यहाँ भी स्पेशल प्रोमोस बनते हैं, हमारे यहाँ भी स्पेशल प्रोमो बनते हैं, हम टाकरास भी करते हैं, हम ट्रांसमिशंस भी करते हैं. बट एक बात आपको जरूर बताऊंगा कि ये जो रिसेप्शन मिला है पाकिस्तान टीम को, इस पर पाकिस्तान में लोगों ने बहुत खुश हुए, बहुत इसको अप्रिशिएट किया, इसको प्यार का जवाब प्यार से दिया. और देखिए पाकिस्तान इंडिया ना नशेबो फराज है. ये जो मैं इशारा कर रहा हूँ ना, ये इस तरह है. आज खुदा ना खास्ता कोई एक गलत चीज हो जाए कहीं पर भी पाकिस्तान भारत में बॉर्डर पे इधर उधर, तो यार उसका रिएक्शन उसी तरह ही होता है. ये एक अप्स एंड डाउन वाली चीज है. ये आपके यहाँ भी बहुत सारी मूवीज बनती हैं, उसमें क्या बातें होती हैं ये आप भी बेहतर जानते हो. हमारे यहाँ भी ये मूवीज बनती हैं, तो बड़ी रियलिस्टिक बात कर रहा हूँ. बट मैं ये जरूर कहूंगा कि अभी प्यार का जवाब बहुत प्यार से दिया गया. मैं बहुत खुश हुआ हैदराबाद के अंदर जब आपके सारे फैंस आए, पाकिस्तान टीम को वहां पर जिस तरह सेलिब्रेट किया गया, होटल में जिस तरह किया गया. आई थिंक ये बहुत अच्छी शुरुआत है. मैं तो ये बात कर रहा था, इस चीज को समझने की जरूरत है कि पाकिस्तान इंडिया गया है और 2025 में इंडिया को भी वर्ल्ड चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी खेलने पाकिस्तान आना चाहिए और आना उनका बहुत जरूरी है. क्योंकि ये दो बैक टू बैक चीजें होंगी, ये प्यार की चीजें होंगी तो बात आगे बढ़ेगी. अगर गैप्स आ जाएंगे तो देखिए ये बात भी निखिल जरूर करनी चाहिए कि ये टाइम टू टाइम वेरी करता है. आपको पता है कोई एक चीज खुदा ना खास्ता लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पे हो जाए या कहीं कोई स्टेटमेंट आ जाए, खुदा ना खास्ता मैं कह रहा हूँ कोई ऐसी चीज, जंग कोई भी नहीं चाहता यार. देखें दुनिया बहुत आगे बढ़ गई है, दुनिया भर में राइवलरीज और ये सारी चीजें खत्म करके दुनिया आगे बढ़ गई है. तो मेरे ख्याल में चीजें उसी तरफ सोचनी चाहिए कि हम एटलीस्ट मीडिया, हम जो जर्नलिस्ट हैं, हम जरूर इसका पॉजिटिव इमेज एटलीस्ट बनाने की कोशिश करें. इसको कम से कम इस तरह रखें कि पॉइंट ऑफ नो रिटर्न पे कभी बात ना जाए. अभी तो बहुत अच्छी सूरत आ रहा है, हमारी टीम वहां पर है, आपने उसको अच्छा वेलकम किया है, पाकिस्तान में इसको अप्रिशिएट किया गया. इसीलिए आप देखें निकल के, चाहे मैं हूँ, बहुत सारे जर्नलिस्ट हो पाकिस्तान के, बहुत सारे फैंस, आप देखिए कि उन्होंने जक्का अशरफ साहब के स्टेटमेंट को पसंद नहीं किया. उन्होंने कहा नहीं इसकी कोई जरूरत नहीं थी, अभी तो आज इस्तकबाल हुआ है. तो ये कहना बहुत काफी है कि पाकिस्तान में मेजोरिटी लोगों ने जक्का अशरफ साहब के स्टेटमेंट को पसंद नहीं किया था. और अब भी मैं यहाँ बैठा हुआ आपको कह रहा हूँ कि स्टेटमेंट जरूर आया, अच्छी बात है, आपने इस चीज को रियलाइज किया. लेकिन अगर आप इतने अच्छे माहौल में सिर्फ ये लिख देते कि ये बात जो है वो हम कहना नहीं चाहते थे और ये इस तरह हो गई, बट लेट्स मूव ऑन, या कुछ ऐसी बात लिखते तो बेहतर होता. तो मैं तो अब भी ये कह रहा हूँ कि दिल आजारी नहीं करनी चाहिए थी ऐसे मौके पे एक ऐसी कौम की जिसने जस्ट आपकी टीम को बड़ा अच्छा वहां पे जो है रिसेप्शन दिया है और प्यार से रिसेप्शन दिया, और हमें भी इस चीज को रियलाइज करना चाहिए। और इंशाल्लाह ये चीज जब आप चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी में पाकिस्तान भारत की टीम आएगी तो कराची, लाहौर में इंशाल्लाह इससे ज्यादा लोग विराट कोहली, रोहित शर्मा और जसप्रीत बुमराह के लिए नारे लगा रहे होंगे और वेलकम वेलकम कर रहे होंगे। वहां कोई ऐसी चीज नहीं होगी जिसके मुताबिक आप मुझसे पूछ रहे हैं। आप देखिएगा कि जब टीम आपकी यहाँ लैंड करेगी, मैंने निखिल 2008 में एशिया कप कवर किया था जब कराची में भारतीय टीम आई थी, मैंने कुछ रिसेप्शन भी कवर किए, मैंने कुछ उनकी आउटिंग्स भी कवर की। पाकिस्तानी इंडियंस को देखकर उसी तरह एक्साइटेड थे, खुश थे, सेल्फीज लेना चाह रहे थे और रिस्पेक्ट कर रहे थे जैसे कि वो पाकिस्तान टीम को करते हैं। तो ये हमारे फैंस का, जेन्युइन क्रिकेट लवर्स का, मैं पॉलिटिकल लोगों की बात नहीं कर रहा, बट जेन्युइन क्रिकेट लवर्स का एक दूसरे के लिए ये एक एडमायरेशन, एक म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट, एक वो हीरोइज्म, एक स्टारिज्म। विराट कोहली कितने बड़े स्टार हैं पाकिस्तान में, आपको भी इस बात का बहुत ज्यादा अंदाजा है। तो ये अच्छे क्रिकेट लवर्स के लिए दोनों तरह की बातें दिलों में मौजूद हैं।
चलिए, ओके अब्दुल, थैंक यू सो मच, आपने टाइम निकाला एंड यू स्पोक टू स्पोर्ट्स टुडे। काफ़ी चीज़ें जो आपने कही, गुड पर्सपेक्टिव आपने हमारे लिए प्रेजेंट किया है, और जैसे इन्होंने कहा ये मैं इससे पूरी तरह से इत्तेफाक रखता हूँ। आई हैव ट्रैवल्ड अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड एंड एवरी टाइम।
जाते जाते एक बात,
या
निखिल भाई, जाते जाते एक बात,
हाँ प्लीज
सर, हमारी टीम वहां आई है और आपने देखा कि मोहब्बत एयरपोर्ट पे नजर आई। ये मौका पाकिस्तानी फैंस को 2025 में मिलना चाहिए और भारत की टीम को पाकिस्तान आना चाहिए, और जहां मौका मिले, आई नो कि दोनों तरफ की गवर्नमेंट जो है वो इसको फैसला करती है, बट पाकिस्तान गवर्नमेंट ऑलवेज सेड भाई क्रिकेट खेलें। अब आपकी गवर्नमेंट भी रियलाइज करे और ये चीजें कहीं ना कहीं बायलैटरल की तरफ बढ़नी चाहिए। दैट इज माय हम्बल ओपिनियन एंड माय ओन पर्सनल रिक्वेस्ट।
Okay, Abdul, thank you so much for joining us, giving us that perspective, and a few things that he pointed out in that particular interview, that, you know, it may have been a slip of tongue from Zaka Ashraf. Also went on to say that, you know, if you look at the general sentiment in Pakistan, most people do not in that sense agree with him, and in fact a lot of media houses in Pakistan have tried to black this out as well and not even cover this statement, and as he mentions that now that he has come out and issued a clarification, then maybe that is the end of the matter. Surely the Pakistan team would be hoping that this is the end of the matter, because Babar Azam, you know, when he was leaving for India just before you know, starting his World Cup campaign, he came out in that press conference. I briefly mentioned that to Abdul as well, where he actually said that he's hoping for support from the Indian fans. Let's listen into Babar Azam before we move forward.
तो एक ये अच्छी खबर है कि वहाँ के जो फैंस हैं वो कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि हमें सपोर्ट करें, वहाँ से हमें प्यार मिले, और जब भी वहाँ पे जाते हैं तो हमें प्यार मिलता है।
Okay, you heard it from Babar Azam, has high hopes, and you know, I kind of agree with his statement and I do kind of disagree. I'll tell you why. He's hoping for a lot of support from Indian fans, and he speaks about how previously the teams that came got a lot of support. Now there are two things which have changed. One, I think the relations are probably at their lowest ebb right now. We have not been playing bilateral series, so I don't know whether now Indian fans will be supportive of the Pakistan team as much as he mentions earlier too. That's one. The other, you must remember, the teams that came earlier of Pakistan had massive fan following in India. Imagine a team with Waqar Younis, Wasim Akram, Saeed Anwar, Inzamam ul Haq, because they were such big stars internationally, Saqlain Mushtaq and so on and so forth, that it had a massive following. Unfortunately, this Pakistan team, they've got young talented players. Babar is probably the biggest star, but still hasn't been able to have that kind of fan following in India. So I wonder, and I'm not now referring to, of course, the Zaka Ashraf statement will also play its part now. Assuming, let's say, a little bit of fans who are going to be supportive of the Pakistan team after his statement, I'm guessing some of them might not be wanting to support. But three factors: Zaka Ashraf's statement, lack of superstars earlier, and also that the relations are probably at the lowest ebb. I don't see that kind of support, do you?
No, I mean, see, when it's India, Pakistan, we normally will have...
Not India, Pakistan. He's talking about Pakistan games without India. So that's what he said, that, you know, because the question was asked that Pakistani fans haven't got the visa. So he said, yes, I know, I wish they could. But even if they haven't, I hear that all non-India games with Pakistan have been sold out. So he was saying, I hope that the Indian fans, when they come, they might just be supporting.
I will tell you why there might be support for Pakistan for all that. Maybe because if they act as the 12th man, everybody will want to see an India versus Pakistan final. That is the probable and the only practical explanation that I can think about. Because see, why would an Indian fan, okay, a lot of England players, a lot of Australian players, they play in the IPL, fine. But they're still viewed as the other. Pakistan, in that sense, just because they would want an India versus Pakistan final. Maybe they'll tell the likes of Babar, the likes of Shaheen. Shaheen matches that superstardom bit slightly.
Yeah.
And maybe to a certain extent Mohammad Rizwan. But apart from that, see, Pakistan, their star power, as you said, it's very, very faded, unlike the past teams. And the only explanations in India was this Pakistan final.
Okay,
Then they'll go
so Siddharth has an interesting. I feel that the fan support may not be too much. There will be a little bit, of course, because you know people who appreciate cricket might go to see some good games. Siddharth says that maybe because Indians would want an India-Pakistan final, there will be support. But you know what? That's the one big difference between India and Pakistan. Pakistan former players also think that there will be support for Pakistan in India. But they have a completely different reason. And I want all of our viewers also to listen in. This is Mushtaq Ahmed, Mushi, as you know, leg spinner, in one of the television shows in Pakistan. And he's telling the host how he thinks that Pakistan team will get support in India. Let's listen into that.
उसके बाद हमने अहमदाबाद जाना है इंडिया के साथ खेलने, तो इसका मतलब है कि हैदराबाद में हमें फ़ैन सपोर्ट मिलने वाली है। कि वो जो खदशा था कि फ़ैन सपोर्ट नहीं होगी, पाकिस्तानी फ़ैन्स के वीज़ा है उसका मसला चल रहा है अभी, तो वो तमाम मसाइल अब एक तरफ रह गए, हमें सपोर्ट तो मिलने वाली है, तो एक अच्छा साइन है हमारे लिए।
बिल्कुल, और अहमदाबाद और हैदराबाद दोनों जो इनके सिटीज़ हैं, ये दोनों यहाँ पे पॉपुलेशन मुसलमानों की बहुत ज़्यादा है, और इसी वजह से आप देखेंगे जितने भी एयरपोर्ट से लेके, और जब आप देखिएगा होटल के बाहर, अब हमारा किसी नुमाइंदे ने, हमारे जो ख्वाजा ने अगर ये कवर किया, अगर कोई किसी ने भी कवर किया, तो आप देखिएगा। बिल्कुल, और अहमदाबाद और हैदराबाद दोनों जो इनके सिटीज़ हैं, ये दोनों यहाँ पे पॉपुलेशन मुसलमानों की बहुत ज़्यादा है, और इसी वजह से आप देखेंगे जितने भी एयरपोर्ट से लेके, और जब आप देखिएगा होटल के बाहर, अब हमारा किसी नुमाइंदे ने, हमारे जो ख्वाजा ने अगर ये कवर किया, अगर कोई किसी ने भी कवर किया, तो आप देखिएगा।
Heard Mushtaq Ahmed, he's come up with another reason.
Another reason.
He says that Ahmedabad and Hyderabad are two Indian cities with Muslim population, so we will get support. Thoughts?
Very dangerous. Dangerous line of thought. Because where have they emerged out of that dark ages mentality? I mean, you would want to appreciate them for the kind of cricket that they play, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where has all these kind of things got to come in? And that is why, if somebody like Zaka Ashraf wants to make amends because their ego is so delusional, I don't see that coming out. And Mushtaq's comment, I mean, brilliant leg spinner, genius of a leg spinner, also a good coach. But this statement is very problematic.
But you know, the problem is exactly this, and I'm going to call a spade a spade. Firstly, with this statement, if I was an Indian Muslim, I would take offense to it. What he's effectively saying is that all Indian Muslims, a majority of them, will be supporting Pakistan. If I was an Indian Muslim, I would take offense to it, and I know that a lot of Indian Muslims will take offense to it, because I see a lot of them on cricket field, I meet them, and there is never a religion, whoever wears that India jersey, there's never a religious divide. When fans are sitting, there are Hindu, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, whoever are sitting next to each other wearing the India jersey, all of them have the same passion supporting the Indian team. They're not going to go support any other team. And I'm not only talking about India, Pakistan, but they will not go support any other team. So is he trying to say, and I was just going to say, I'm a Hindu by birth, right? But I was a fan of Pakistan players. What he's trying to say is that only if I was a Muslim, I would have that support. And so he's dividing cricket on these lines, and I said that is the problem, and that is the big difference between Indians and Pakistani players. You'll never see an Indian player ever come out and say it, and as I pointed out, he's not the first one. There is a common thread that runs across, which Siddharth, just let's see. This side. So this is Shaheen
Shahid Afridi in 2020 of May. He had released a very weird Twitter thread. It does not take a religious belief to feel the agony of Kashmiris. Just a right heart at the right place. Now remember, this was coming in after the abrogation of Article 370. So there were volatile times, there was change, there was uncertainty in Kashmir. But that rattled Pakistan. And Shahid Afridi, let us be very, very honest about it, as mercurial as his batting and his capabilities were, very controversial. For his comments in particular, he has been incredibly controversial. And why do I say? This is just the tip of the iceberg, that why Pakistan's identity, Mushtaq's comment, I mean, why did I make that statement? There was no malice, there was no prejudice. I'm looking at the holistic picture of cricket by stating every cricket fan, despite being a lopsided rivalry for the past 2-3 years, they still wanted India-Pakistan final. These kind of statements, the one that Mushtaq said, the one that Afridi made in 2020.
No, one more.
And Waqar Yunus. I mean, why do certain people who are so good on the cricketing field, have to come up with these kind of statements? I mean, what I liked most, this was in 2021, October. What happened in October 2021, if I can recall to all my cricketing fans and family members? That was the time Pakistan had beaten India by 10 wickets in that ICC World T20 encounter.
Rare win for them.
Rare win. The first time ever they had won.
So,
what I liked most is what Rizwan did, Mohammad Rizwan. He stood in the middle of the ground and read the prayers in front of the
and so you've seen the statement. That's why I said it's a big difference. And you know, I consider myself as, you know, a moderate in that sense, who wants to not always see things through the prism of politics and religion. Okay, I want to see things, because I cover sports. Sports is the only thing I understand. I see through that. But it's statements like these that I mentioned, where you're mixing religion with cricket. That's where the problem lies. We had Abdul, a very sensible journalist, joining us live, and he pointed out the right thing, that we should ignore certain things. But you know, you can ignore a Zaka Ashraf statement. How much are you going to ignore a Mushtaq statement? Are you going to ignore statements that Shahid Afridi makes? Are you going to ignore statements that Waqar Yunus make? Someone should tell Waqar Yunus, he's, I think, in line to be coming here doing commentary in India. With these kind of statements, he should not know. He should just continue doing. So that's the double standards that sometimes comes from them. And just as we always support cricket and look at cricketing things and try not to be in this, but these things also need to be called out. And that's where I think I disagree with Abdul, where he says sometimes, you know, I should ignore these things. Sometimes you need to call out these things also, because if you ignore them, then more and more of these things fester.
No, and let us be very honest, for the past decade and a half or something, we have been too blinded by this peaceful approach with Pakistan. And I think we rely too much on, okay, you hit me on one cheek, let me extend the other.
Yeah.
But what if you get hit in both the cheeks multiple times? Then you have to call out the atrocities that are there. So that's why Pakistan have been doing this every single time. Don't we ourselves, when such kind of incidents happen, don't we criticize them? Don't we say that, oh, you are simply in the fringes, you just do not deserve to be in the mainstream? We just isolate them. But in Pakistan, they are not the fringe, they are the mainstream.
And what they tend to forget when they divide this, and I'm going back to the statement by Mushtaq and all, they tend to forget that there are more Muslims in India than in Pakistan. Exactly. So dividing it, and by looking at India, under one lens, and not looking at the diversity of India and classifying them as a country just, you know, made up of one religion, that's not what we are. Pakistan may be a country like that. Yes. India isn't. So these are former players who are not only doing disservice to the sport, they're also doing disservice to their own country with the statements that they're coming with, and they will be doing a lot of disservice and creating a lot of trouble for the current team, which is in Hyderabad, the Pakistan team, playing their practice match today. And so we want to bring you some ground reality. How has this entire controversy affected the Pakistan team? Let's take you live to Hyderabad. Manoj Dimri, who's tracking the Pakistan team, our correspondent, is joining us live. Let's go over to him. Okay, Manoj joining us live from Hyderabad. Manoj, any sort of statement or any sort of reaction that you've been able to get after this statement by Zaka Ashraf? First the statement and then the clarification on the statement. I know the Pakistan team is right now playing a practice game, but before that, has there been any reaction from their side?
Not yet, sir. Actually, as we are discussing this thing, a lot of journalists also are discussing the same, and even the latest statement which had come out from the PCB, and it clearly states that Mr. Zaka Ashraf is saying so and so. In that statement as well, we are not seeing anything regarding his remark, the Dushman Mulk remark, and in that he has also mentioned very smartly, we are arch rivals, not the enemies. So it is definitely a reference to that, but in that statement itself, he's saying that we would like to continue and restore the bilateral ties. and we know what happened like a day back, where he's saying that Dushman Mulk, referring India as a Dushman Mulk. Definitely what we were discussing earlier as well, whenever the Pakistani players, whoever will front the press, he will be asked this question, like what he had to say on this particular comment from Zaka Ashraf. And at that point in time, it will be a very tricky situation for whoever individual which will be there from the Pakistani side.
But can I tell you, Manoj, with my years of experience, I can tell you that as soon as somebody asks that question, if it is you or anyone else, the media manager will step in and say, no, we will not take this question. Yes. And that question's answer you're not going to get. But tell us one thing, how do you see this? Has it created more problem for Pakistan team? Because you've now been tracking them. They seem to be so happy, great Instagram stories, good reception they got. They're getting the diet they want, special meals being prepared. But now, and also we heard Babar say before he left that, we want support from Indian fans in the non-India match when they are playing here, because they are also sold out. But after this statement, has it created more problems for the Pakistan team, the PCB chairman's statement?
Definitely, sir, because whatever we have seen so far regarding their India visit, from the moment they landed in Hyderabad to the moment they stepped into their team hotel, and even yesterday for the practice, and today when they were leaving for the warm-up match, the fans are coming in to see them, to get a glimpse of Babar Azam or a Shaheen Afridi, and they are receiving them very well. And by the look of it and by judging the body language of the players, they too are enjoying it. Even we had mentioned earlier that it is a very tight security in the hotel, where their entire floor is like a situation where no one can walk in there. And there are fans who are demanding a picture or an autograph. And even the Pakistani players, they are willing to give it, but they cannot give. Such are the security protocols there. So obviously they are enjoying such love and such warmth from the Indian spectators. But the moment I think they will be open to a session with the media, this question will be the first to be put into them. And as you said, obviously the media manager will step in. And even if they say something, the best they could do is to just say, we don't know and we are not aware of the whole situation or the scenario. We were busy in our practice sessions. But definitely it had taken out a bit of shine what we have seen so far regarding this Pakistan's visit to India.
I mean, Manoj, you might have met some Pakistan journalists also who are traveling. Did you manage to? I'm
not sure if they've got visas, because there a lot of them are complaining they haven't. In fact, I heard the first one who's got is Ramiz Raja has got, then one more a presenter and one statistician from Pakistan. So I think 3 or 4 only visas, but I don't know. Maybe Manoj can answer.
Have you been able to meet with any Pakistani media people at that time? If yes, what is their take on this?
I haven't met any of the Pakistani journalists here, but definitely like Nikhil sir also, he must have had some discussions or some conversation with the Pakistani journalists, because he was present at the Asia Cup as well. They too feel that it was unwanted, the Pakistani journalists, Pakistani fans, and I think they are embarrassed by the way the whole situation had panned out after that particular remark. And but now the statement which had come, I want to know from you, Nikhil sir, how do you see the statement which had been put out by PCB, and it clearly states that it is from Zaka Ashraf, where he had mentioned regarding the love and warmth and restoring the bilateral ties, and very smartly putting in a line, we are not enemies.
Manoj, we were discussing that, and I think that it is just damage control. See, if he really meant it, if he really meant that, that what he said was a slip of tongue, he would actually come out and mention that comment, that Dushman Mulk, and said that, listen, I said that, but that was error of judgment, that was a wrong choice of words, and I'm apologetic about it. He would have come out and said it if he genuinely felt that it was wrong. But the fact that he sidestepped it, but the fact he's not even touched it, tells me that what he said was not a slip of tongue. What he said was clearly something he meant. And now this is just like damage control, because there's a lot of hangama now, a lot of news coverage. So he's just come out and, this is what you call lip service, some kind of a statement just to say, oh, no, they are arch rivals, this and that. But I'm saying you could have cut that statement into half and made your point by simply saying, if I were him and if it was a slip of tongue, I would have said, listen, my choice of word was wrong. That was not my intention. I apologize if I've hurt anybody's sentiments. All I wanted to say was that they are arch rivals, but maybe because of a slip of tongue, because of a loose translation, I said something else. I want to take it back. I hope India and Pakistan can have good relations going forward. If you had said this statement, this would have been the perfect statement and in a sense kind of done some sort of damage control. But what he says clearly means, and that's why I pointed out, Manoj, earlier, that don't forget he's been a politician. He was in
Yes.
People's Party of Pakistan for a long time, PPP, and then he has cousins, which I was just reading, in different parties as well, Tehreek-e-Insaf as well, few other parties. So because he's got so many political connections and he was a politician himself, he had to say a political line. He said it, and like a typical politician, he will be, as they say, GTU, giri to bhi tang upar, gir gaya, but tang upar, so I will not take it back. That's what he did. That's how I read the statement.
Yeah. Nikhil has actually been very polite because he's used the term damage control. I think he's not controlled any damage. He's just allowed the fire to rage. He's trying to kind of maybe tone it down with not water, but with a bit of petrol. That is the only thing I'm getting in that. He's not done any damage control whatsoever by the statement that he's reached. A convoluted, very delusional kind of a statement. Restoration of bilateral ties when nothing of this was even spoken at that time. Weird.
Is it a brain fade like what happened to Steve Smith getting out LBW and then checking on the dressing room whether to refer it or not?
No,
Or
but I'll
is
tell
it
you what,
like, obviously,
honestly,
is it-
if it was a brain fade, then they came out and said it was a brain fade. Now,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
He should have come out and said brain fade.
Yes.
We would have taken that, because brain fades can happen to you, me, Siddharth, everyone. Sometimes we have that error of judgment. But the thing is, he's GTU. He is not saying brain fade. He's still saying, no,
Yes.
it is fine. I'm not taking back my words, but all I'm saying is, let's have good relation. We are arch rivals. So that's what he's doing.
Bol diya, I mean, I've told it, arey, tab bhi, it's okay, let's have good relations. That's how Zaka Ashraf is like coming out in this entire case, which is sad.
Yeah.
It was an unnecessary statement. That was what I have said. No damage controls been done, because I don't think Pakistan, the main key figures in Pakistan know the art of damage control. I don't think they know it.
Okay, on that note, we're completely out of time. Manoj, thank you so much for taking our time speaking to us. That's all that we have on this edition of The Dugout. It's a heated debate, multiple viewpoints that we've spent the last 1 hour talking about. We'd love to know your thoughts as well. So do give us a like on this video and put in your comments, and we'll try and read that. Maybe take some of those comments in the days coming forward. It is the start of the World Cup today, so we're very excited with warm-up games. So big games coming up in the future, starting with a warm-up game for India
Big
tomorrow.
1.5 months.
Yep.
Tomorrow onwards it begins for India in particular. I'm not looking at it begins tomorrow.
And let Sports Day be your one-stop shop.
Yep.
Bye bye. Take care. Vanakkam.
Vanakkam.